Welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha, a podcast shared by David Roylance. This podcast is dedicated to guiding you to completely eliminate the discontent mind and the suffering it causes by attaining enlightenment. Learn and practice the teachings of Gautama Buddha that will guide you to fully attain a peaceful, calm, serene, and content mind with joy. To support this podcast, visit patreon.com/support Buddha or visit buddhadailywisdom.com, where you will discover a full range of courses, retreats, and online learning resources to assist you on the path to enlightenment. Now, here's our teacher to share more.
Sawadee Ka. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. Today is our group learning program, and I'm going to be guiding you in a loving kindness meditation session and then opening up to any and all questions that you guys have related to the path to enlightenment. If you'd like to join for our meditation, this meditation is designed to help you eliminate anger, hatred, ill will, and all those lesser versions like frustration, irritation, annoyance. It also helps with negative self-talk. If you have this inner dialogue which is degrading or diminishing within your own mind, this is really helpful to eliminate that as well. You can get to the point in your practice where you don't even have the slightest dislike towards other beings, because that dislike is coming from the mind's craving, from its wants and expectations and wanting other people to be a certain way. And when they meet your expectations, you experience the happiness, or you like that person. And if you dislike that person, that means that they're not meeting your expectations. So you can eliminate all of that through training of the mind, along with other aspects of the mind that need to be purified in order to make your way to this enlightened mental state. So the way that I'm going to do this meditation is I'm going to start with some chanting to ease us into the meditation. Then after the chanting, I'm going to come in with some guidance on breathing mindfulness meditation so that you guys can do a little bit of that to kind of prepare the mind. Then I'm going to go into these affirmations where I'm going to be saying out loud these different affirmations in these rings. And when you hear me say these affirmations, you can do it on the out breath within your own mind. And then ultimately we'll go back to breathing mindfulness meditation, and then we'll come out of the meditation with some more chanting. I'm going to make these rings wider and wider and wider, kind of starting small and then getting to the point where it's all beings. And this is what's going to essentially rewire your mind to be more loving and kind when you're around these individual people. So for me, I'm going to do these affirmations in a way that applies to all of us, but ultimately you would like to customize this meditation so that it is customized for your specific needs. So if you have certain people that you do have anger, hatred, or any of the lesser versions like frustration, irritation, annoyance towards any people or any groups of people, you would like to include them in your meditation. So if you'd like to join along, I'm going to start with the chanting, and you're welcome to join along in that. And then I'll come back in with the guidance for the breathe in mindfulness meditation, and then ultimately the loving kindness meditation as well. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Hotang Bhagavanang Apivateyami Savakato Bhagavata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัพพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสมะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารนังสัมมุโนสกาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดามะสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังพุทโธภาควาติ Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect, just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath, a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled, just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathing gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing the full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind fixated on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Then I'll be back with more guidance on loving kindness meditation. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. Continuing to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Repeat these affirmations in the mind on the out breath. May I be peaceful. May I be safe. May I be well. May I be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May Mom and Dad be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May my family, friends, neighbors, and co-workers all be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all those who have caused me harm be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all those who I have harmed be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all beings, wherever they reside, be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be well. May all beings be free of discontentedness in the sufferings that it causes. Now return back to breathing mindfulness meditation, focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Breathing in and out. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Bhutang Bhagavanhang Abhivateyami Savakato Bhagavata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho วิจาจารนังสัมมุโนสกาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดามาสติสตาตาวามนุสนังโพโตภาควาติ Okay, if you'd like to slowly make your way out of meditation. Okay, I'd like to welcome all of you guys once again to our class. Today's class is just me guiding you in meditation and then opening up to any and all questions that you guys might have. You're more than welcome to ask any and all questions you like. If you're in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, you can put those into the comments section. Or if you're in Zoom, you can electronically raise your hand and ask any and all questions that you like. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, it looks like Leo has a question. Go ahead, sir. And then it looks like Robert's after that.
David? Yeah, my first question is, I remember that last discussion we had, I told you about the unconditioned joy I had for a few days. I think the next day or 2 days later, I would say that it wasn't that present anymore, and it's until now. So it's not. I wouldn't say that. I would say that I still feel really good and have more concentration, and talking with other people is easier than in the past, and so on. And sometimes I see a little bit unconditioned joy, but it's not so present than it was the week before, 1 week ago. Is that normal when you have ideas why this could be? Because what I would say is that I didn't like the last week because I was working somewhere. I did like 2 sessions of meditation per day and not the 3 sessions I did before. But I cannot think that this is a reason why the unconditioned joy is not so present. So you have ideas here? Yeah.
Are you enlightened yet, Leo?
No.
So why do you think that the mind isn't permanently joyful?
I just was thinking that maybe in some cases I'm complacent and I just don't see it myself. That's what I want to find out. If I maybe, yeah.
Okay. So these qualities of enlightenment, not just this quality of unconditioned joy, but all the others as well, they're going to flicker in the mind for a good long while, multiple years, before the mind is actually experiencing them permanently. You even experience 2, 3, even 6 months worth of peace and joy when you're in that third stage of enlightenment, and then you're going to have a little bit of discontentedness come in for 30 seconds or a minute or so, and then you're going to be able to get rid of it, right? So your mind still has these pollutions. So these qualities are going to flicker like this for a good long while. It's completely normal. The reason why it's occurring is because your mind still has pollution. There's still a lot of work to do. That's why you're going to have these things go on. So when you're experiencing the unconditioned joy, it's important that you don't get excited about it. It's important that you don't cling to it and think that it's permanent yet. Just observe it. Notice that your mind has the ability to do this, and then keep doing all the things that led to that, because it's the Eightfold Path and training the mind and purifying it of the fetters that is going to lead to the complete peace and complete joy. So you're going to experience all of this, not just with joy, but with equanimity, with tranquility, with your energy, with all the different qualities that are in the enlightened mind. They're going to flicker for a good long while before you are experiencing the permanent peace and permanent joy.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious that maybe I just want to make sure that I'm staying on the path, and not regressing out of it, of whatever. That's why I was a little bit thinking about maybe you have some cravings, desire, attachments came up, and you were complacent without really knowing, realizing it. But yeah,
The specifics of why your unconditioned joy is no longer there, that's where your mindfulness comes in. You need to be able to discern that for yourself. I can share with you that, yeah, it's pollution of mind, it's the fetters, you're not enlightened yet, these qualities are going to flicker, and so forth and so on. I can explain all of that to you. But the specific cravings that were in your mind, that's where your mindfulness comes in. Your teacher can't tell you in all situations exactly what your specific cravings are. That's why each individual practitioner is on their own journey, and you need to cultivate right mindfulness, because you're going to need to look inward and you're going to need to figure this out.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Another question. I wanted to, I think you said that what is a good thing to develop is praise and reward people, right? To people.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Praise and reward.
I said that it was a good thing to develop that.
Or better to say, what do you think about praise and reward?
Oh.
For me, it seems somehow a kind of. I remember that you somehow said that it's good better to praise and reward someone, like saying like, oh, you did a good job, or you did this good, well done. Like, right, it's kind of friendly. But for me, maybe you say something about it.
Yeah, what you're thinking of is where I said it's better to accentuate the positive than to point out the negative. That's different than praise and reward. So if you have employees, or if you have children, or even a life partner, people around you, it's much wiser to point out all the positive things and accentuate those, but not overly, right? If you're like every day you're, explaining to someone, those kinds of things, it can be overdone, and then their conceit can arise. So you would like to kind of sprinkle in accentuating the positive, so that what happens is when people hear this, they tend to repeat those things more and more, because they know that those are wise things to do. But you need to be sure that when you're doing that you're not doing it based on your cravings and what you want this person to do because of your cravings. But instead, it's like, if I see someone being generous, I might say, oh, wow, you're really generous. That's very kind of you, right? Because I know that's a wholesome quality for them to practice. Or if I see someone being loving and kind, I might say, wow, that's very loving and kind of you. That's outstanding, great job. So those are the kinds of things that you would like to accentuate, not like, oh, brother, thank you for picking your socks up off the floor. I don't like it when you keep those around and they should be in the basket. Oh, good job for picking up those socks. Like that's like a whole nother thing where maybe you're trying to fulfill a craving that you have for them to pick up their socks. So you need to look at the qualities that someone's practicing and accentuate those, because that's what's going to lead to their improvement in life and on the path.
Yeah, it makes completely sense for me. It somehow a little bit seems like judgment, if you know what I mean, because what we learn in the unenlightened world is that if you do something good, they say, oh, you did it great, nice. And if you do something wrong, you get somehow punishment for that. So it still seems a little bit like judgment. Like,
that's not what this is, Leo. You're not understanding what judgment is. Let me explain that to you, because when you were talking about praise and reward, that's also not what this is either, and that sounds like what you're thinking about. So when you're judging someone, what that is the mind's ego, the mind's conceit, looking at what someone else is doing and trying to determine for them what is wholesome and unwholesome, and measuring and comparing, where you're kind of measuring and comparing yourself to them, and then you're judging them as being wholesome or unwholesome based on your own perceptions within your own mind. That's what judgment is. Instead, what you're asking about, and I don't know that you have anybody in your life that you might decide to do these things with, because you heard this during the Harmony and Relationships course that you took with me when I was talking about guiding children. I was talking about accentuating the positive with children. And that's where I apply this the most, is with children, because those are individuals that you're guiding to improved results and wiser decision making. But like I mentioned, it could be done with employees as well. It could also even be done with a life partner as well. For someone who's further along on the path, maybe their life partner is not, you can accentuate the positive in order to help them. It's almost like sprinkling popcorn along a trail and guiding them towards enlightenment. Has nothing to do with judgment whatsoever, and has nothing to do with praise and reward. It's more of helping them to see that they are practicing wholesome qualities, and then based on their acknowledgement that they are practicing wholesome qualities, they will tend to repeat those qualities and continue to practice those repeatedly, which is ultimately going to help them.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. That's why you ask questions, to clarify, because the unenlightened mind lacks so much wisdom that it sees things and it looks through all this pollution, and it's very hard for the mind to see what somebody's guiding you to understand. So oftentimes when we're teaching, it needs a student to ask multiple questions like this so that you can actually understand what we're teaching. Because when we teach, oftentimes it sounds odd and different for people, because people are so used to doing things a certain way. When they hear the way that these teachings are guiding someone to practice, they oftentimes are confused or have misperceptions or misunderstandings about what is being shared. So it's good that you're asking these questions and clarifying.
Yeah, thank you.
And what I just did there was accentuate the positive, right?
Yeah, I think
I didn't judge you. I didn't judge you as being wholesome or unwholesome. I just accentuated the positive. I said, hey, Leo, that's great that you're asking questions, because that's what's going to lead to improvement in your wisdom in the cultivation of the mind.
Okay.
And it wasn't praise, it wasn't a reward, and there wasn't any punishment. It was just saying, hey, you're on the right track here, buddy. This is a good direction to head. Asking questions.
So it was not like, oh, so good, Leo, very good. That would be praise, right?
Yeah.
I think, okay. Yeah, I misunderstood it. I thought that this is what you're saying, that we should praise and reward, but I understand now this is more like,
yeah,
that's a wise thing. Maybe you could do this a little bit better, but all in all, it was great. Or something like this is better, right? To give them wisdom with what you're.
Yeah, I accentuated the positive. I took something that you already did that was wise, and I helped you to see that, yes, this is a wise thing that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
When I use praise and reward, I only talk about that when I talk about the evolution of our consciousness from animal to human. That's the only time I talk about praise and reward. I don't talk about it that in terms of accentuating the positive.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, looks like Robert has a question. Go ahead, sir.
For loving kindness meditation, you've mentioned sort of the some sort of liquid going over the people or the thing to praise. One of the things that that's helped me is sort of imagining like a peace sign or a lock of security or some sort of chains being unlocked over this person or this group. Is that okay too, to sort of keep the mind focused on those areas?
Yeah, you can visualize these kinds of things. The Buddha taught to envelop individuals with loving kindness. And that's where I used to think about molasses kind of dripping over someone's head and kind of enveloping them. And that's ultimately what you would like to get to. But if you're noticing that this particular visualization is bringing up loving kindness in the mind, ultimately you would like it to be permeating in the mind towards all beings, and that's what you ultimately need to cultivate in the mind. So if the visualization you mentioned is helping you to do that, then great.
Okay, great. I think it helps me focus, which is helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Looks like Leo has some more questions. Go ahead, sir.
You did. Just wanted to say that I realized that when I do loving kindness meditation, actually I always do it a little bit longer than 30 minutes, sometimes even up to 50 minutes, between 40 to 50. I think it's because in the beginning I often get so much into thoughts when I do the breathing. So I sometimes think then, oh, you were just thinking about things, it's nice if you stay a little bit longer on the breath. And I think this is the reason why my meditation expands so much. Then I come into the loving kindness praises. I do the 8 rings. Would you say it's better to put this, make it shorter? Give some words in there.
There's no harm in what you're doing. What I teach is to practice 2 or 3 times a day for 30 minutes or more, right? That's what I mentioned. So you're practicing what I teach.
Okay. Also would like to ask, what I also sometimes do is the Lord's Prayer before I start with chanting or with the meditation. What I don't understand is how the Lord's Prayer helps if the meaning is so different to the clarification you offer in the book, right? Because if I do that, it's so different, right? So I don't understand why it could be helpful to use the actual words.
Yeah, so the words are what Jesus taught, and I share the meaning for those and what they mean, right? And how they apply in your day-to-day life. When I practice using the Lord's Prayer, this is just maintaining my relationship with God, helping my mind to reaffirm with God that, hey, I'm here helping these beings in this world. That's what it does for me. So you can see, as you sound like you've looked, about what that prayer means for me and how I think of it. Whether you choose to do it or not is up to you, but it surely is helpful for me and has been helpful for many years.
Okay. What I also would like to ask, about the fetter of sensual desire. For example, if all these addictions I have, for example, biting my nails and stuff like that, could I say, oh yes, this is the fetter? Is that a fetter somehow? No, it's not a fetter. I think it's more addiction, right? But it's part of the fetter, or how I can understand that.
The biting of your nails? Yeah, that's part of sensual desire.
It's part of sensual. Okay, it's just a puzzle of the fetter.
I'm sorry.
Fetter is a puzzle of the fetter sensual desire, or?
So it's from the mind having sensual desire, the mind's longing, yearning. Either your mind wants to see short nails, or you are enjoying the sensation of biting or the touching on the fingers. There's some sensual desire there that keeps the mind hooked to doing this over and over and over again. So you're going to need to train your mind to eliminate that.
Okay. I would like to ask another question, a bit unusual questions today, but you said that not knowing the Four Noble Truths as a human is more unbeneficial than being in hell. But in hell, I guess we also don't know the Four Noble Truths. And on the top of that, we have all this strong suffering for many 100,000 years in hell, right? So how is that being in hell more beneficial than being unenlightened in the human world?
Yeah, you're misunderstanding the...
not understanding the Four Noble Truths in the human world.
Yeah, you're misunderstanding. So first, it was the Buddha who said that not understanding the Four Noble Truths is worse than the greatest hell, right? So it wasn't me, it was the Buddha. But of course, I agree with what the Buddha is sharing. By not understanding the Four Noble Truths, you continue to experience anger and frustration over and over and over again, and you have no understanding of what is really truly going on within your own mind. So it's not that it's more beneficial to be in hell. See, you're switching it. It's not that it's more beneficial to be in hell. It's that living in this human realm without understanding of the Four Noble Truths is essentially like living in hell. In the Buddha saying that it's worse than living in hell, essentially, because you continue to experience the difficulties and struggles, and here you are in this world with an opportunity to understand them, but yet the mind doesn't. In hell, there's no opportunity to understand them, right? Because you can't learn the Four Noble Truths in hell. But here in the human realm, you actually have the opportunity to do it. And for somebody not to do it, it's basically resigning themselves and resorting themselves to continuous rebirth over and over. And during this life, they're going to experience continuous misery and despair. So it's not just that this life they're experiencing the difficulties and struggles. It's because of not understanding the Four Noble Truths that there's going to be constant rebirth. Because that person in hell, let's just say they burn off their karma in hell. Let's just say they're born into the human realm and they actually learn the Four Noble Truths and get to enlightenment. Okay, done, over with. But this person in the human realm who actually has the opportunity to do it but doesn't do it, they're going to be continually reborn over and over and over again. And that's like worse than being in hell.
Okay. Last question I would like to ask. What do you think about? Sometimes I think about learning. When is learning too much? Like right now, I have again more. I would say diligence to learn to practice the teachings. So I'm visiting the classes 3 times a week, right? What about like if I every day I watch a little bit of a video, or if I would watch like a class every day, would that be too much? Because after a while I also read, do the meditation and stuff like that. Would you say there is some kind of? I mean, it depends on the person and how much progress they have and so on, I guess. But yeah, maybe you have some words on that.
This is going to be unique to each individual. I wouldn't be able to give a blanket recommendation on that. You need to be observant of your own mind. If you're watching videos and reading books and attending classes and you're not absorbing what's being taught and you're not having time to reflect on it and you're not having time to practice it, then you're taking in too much. Because just the fact that you're sitting in a class, so what? If you're not reflecting on it, if you're not practicing it, then it doesn't matter. So you need to give yourself time to reflect and you need to give yourself time to practice what's being taught as well. And that reflection is the independent verification of what is being taught. So if you're taking in so much content that you don't have time to independently verify what's being taught and you don't have time to integrate it into your practice, then that is too much. And each individual person is going to be unique in that situation because everybody's lifestyle is different and what they do on a day-to-day basis is different. What could be too much for one person might be just right for someone else. But even with something like learning the path to enlightenment, you need to do that from the middle way. There's a middle way to pursue the path to enlightenment, because if you pursue it too aggressively, you're not going to have healthy and wholesome results. But if you're complacent and sluggish, you're not going to have wholesome results there either. So even with the path to enlightenment, you've got to find the middle way and then understand that that middle is going to be changing as you go through life and things are changing in your life.
Then, for example, if I have a topic, personal existence view, maybe I watched a small clip of that from the classes. But I also watched like 2 other clips of cravings and attachment and another clip of another topic. Is that maybe too much? Would it be better to just watch to see the clip of personal existence view and say, okay, now today I reflect on that, I put the other things aside? I think you would say it depends, right? I have to find out for myself.
You got it, Leo.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Let me see if we have any questions coming in on Facebook or YouTube. All right. I'm not seeing any questions there. So I'll just end by thanking all of you guys for joining. Appreciate that you're interested in learning the path to enlightenment. As you would like to learn more, there's classes on Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. You can learn at 9 a.m. Thai time or 9 p.m. Thai time, wherever that is in your time zone. You can check and you'll be able to tune in live or listen to the recordings and continuing to learn and grow and develop. Next week, I'm going to be teaching the Harmony of Relationships course, so people are more than welcome to attend that as well. So whatever you guys decide to do today, have a very wonderful and lovely rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Sawadee krap.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To provide support for this podcast, visit patreon.com/support Buddha. To access more teachings, visit buddhadailywisdom.com. There, you will discover a full range of courses, retreats, and online resources to assist you on the path to enlightenment. Remember to establish a daily, consistent meditation practice, along with learning and practicing these teachings. A well-developed meditation practice is the foundation in which to train the mind to attain enlightenment.